Greetings, listeners, and welcome to the Political Education Podcast, brought to you by the moderators of the National Conversation, South Sudan. This is your podcast to understanding the social, political, and economic situation in South Sudan. The podcast shall consist of several shows dealing with topics ranging from politics to feminism, masculinism in post-colonial times, the history and formation of the historic SPLA, SPLM, the nationality question, history and anthropology of our peoples, socio-economic development, the revitalized agreement, and a special Q&A show for our listeners to send in their queries about the African Renaissance. We are also developing shows in our national languages, our mother tongue. Additionally, we shall introduce an Africa edition of the Political Education Podcast in collaboration with the Global Pan-African Movement.
As our listeners may have noticed, we have used a clip from Radio SPLA for our introduction. The Political Education Podcast is in fact inspired by Radio SPLA, which was the voice of the Sudanese Revolutionary Armed Struggle. The armed struggle has now ended, culminating in the signing of the Comprehensive Peace Agreement and the subsequent birth of the First Republic of South Sudan. The Political Education Podcast is the rearticulation of the voice of the people's struggle within the context of new realities we presently find ourselves in. The National Conversation South Sudan, a non-governmental organization, has identified lack of political awareness as a great stumbling block to the socio-economic development of our civil population and the full realization of our self-determination. Consequently, we have identified political education as a nonviolent tool for bringing about fundamental change in our society.
The moderators want to make it categorically clear the Political Education Podcast brought to you by the National Conversation South Sudan is not seeking regime change. The change we are after is the modernization of our societies, the restoration of the greatness of our peoples. Join the conversation by subscribing to our podcast available everywhere you can find your favorite podcasts. You can also join the conversation on our Twitter at NC South Sudan, on Facebook, National Conversation South Sudan. Find out more on our website, www.nationalconversationssd.com.
We leave you with a few words from the late Dr. John Garang. And we hope you will join us on this continued journey of our liberation. A luta continua.
Competence the SPLA is necessary to understand this, because you will be the ones that will be making decisions. You know how one of you may be the Minister of Defense, of Finance. But if you don't understand this from now, then you will find yourself by then making this decision and then taking your 10%. And then the country goes downhill. This thing is necessary to concretely understand as time goes, because we cannot understand these things at once.
السودان وهذا من لوني أنا جند الشعبي لتحرير السودان يا قال لي البرجوازي الحاكم في بلادي، فكيف أكون عطشان وبلدي غزير الأمطار، وكمان نهر النيل العظيم يشق من الجنوب إلى شمال بلادي. يا شباب الدنيا ويا شباب إفريقيا، أسمع صوتي أنا في المدينة الكرمك، أعرف كلمتنا وأسمع صوتي كمان من مدينة كابوسا، أعرف كابوسا. ولكن اليوم يا ناس الدنيا ويا ثوار إفريقيا أنا غضبت خلاص. من جنوب بلادي إلى شمال بلادي، ومن غرب بلادي إلى شرق بلادي، وأنا ماشي